Hey guys, welcome back to Southfield. I was doing some facial work, and I figured that this would be a good opportunity to kind of do a little bit of not a how-to video, but a how-I video, describing how I create my fascia, because I do believe that this is different than the way that the vast majority of the world does it. So typically fascia is created out of hardboard, 1/8, 1/4 inch, and then either screwed to the actual bench work, or I suppose some people might also glue it. Now for me, I have access to a material that most people probably don't even know exist. For lack of better terms, it is about 1/8 of an inch thick, let's just call it styrene. What it is this product right here called Palight. It is a formed PVC sheet. Palram.com, that's the company that makes it. And it is literally exactly what it says. It is not exactly styrene because it's a lot softer and a lot more moldable. It is very PVC-like, and it comes in 4x8 sheets, and basically most of the time it gets used for various graphic design projects. People print large format posters on them and things like that. But I have access to it through a family connection. So all of this fascia has been created out of this material, and it is incredibly easy to work with, although it's a little bit more expensive than, let's say, your standard foam board would be. But it is incredibly easy to work with. It allows me to glue it to the actual bench work, and therefore I have no holes. I don't have to use any mud to fill any screw holes. All I do is, where I have two joints that are butted up together, I think there's one somewhere over here. Yeah, you can see it right there. There's a joint. Basically, I throw some mud on there, but I glue the two sheets together with some crazy glue. And I mean, crazy glue takes to this stuff like you wouldn't believe. The nice thing about this particular product, amongst many things, is the fact that you can cut it with a utility knife. So utility knife or any kind of large razor blade. For my preference, I like these Alpha knives. These work really well. So I just did actually this whole section right here all the way to the diesel shops. What I ended up doing when I installed this piece is I keep it level at the bottom, and then I just leave the top portion, overlapping above the deck surface, maybe 1 inch or 2 inches, whatever it is, however big the piece is. And then what I can do is I can come through with this knife and literally just slice it to whatever contour it is that I want it to have as I go along. And it just cuts it literally just like a razor blade. So that's literally what I just did from here all the way down to the end. There's all the leftovers. And now I'm able to literally take 320 grit sandpaper and just literally go to town and just smooth out the edges on it and create whatever kind of contour it is that I want to create on it. Whether I want to have a little bit more of a hill, as it is right here, for instance, we have more of an embankment type of situation going on here, or if it's more flat, and that's basically the way that I follow it along. You can see this portion right here hasn't been cut yet. I cut it up to here. I obviously did the scenery up to here, and then this is still in need of being done. So if we look at it from the outside, we can see that it's still there. And once I decide the exact terrain contour that I want right here, I can just come through here with the Alpha knife and do whatever it is that I feel like I need to do with it. And result is basically this right here. Whereas, here's another seam, by the way, right there. And where I painted with the fascia color that I have. Then after that, I can just do the scenery right up over it. However, the scenery in that particular area requires it to be done. And you can see right here, it even blends in with the road. So obviously, that road is actually also built out of Palight. In fact, this entire road, as far as it goes, and it's still going, and all the way up to there where it disappears on the hill. It's all built out of Palight. You can see a seam right there. It's obviously not one solid piece, but it is multiple pieces that are just easy to create, and then you can I can work on them on the workbench. I sand the edges of them down to give it a bit of an embankment type of look, and obviously put scenery over that in the end. But Palight is a very, very, very common item to be found in Southfield. This entire road is made out of it. The base for all those buildings is made out of it. There are a couple of buildings that are almost completely built out of it. At least the foundation is built out of them, and then actual DPM or Walthers or some sort of evergreen styrene is applied on top of it for the actual finished product. But the actual shell of it, the base, is made out of Palight. That is also Palight parking lot. So I have this stuff basically in 4x8 sheets in the garage. This particular piece right here that's curved is going to be the fascia for this section right here. It's just been sitting here waiting for me basically to figure out what kind of terrain I want to have here, and then I'm going to go ahead and glue it in place just with regular construction adhesive. Clamp it. Once that stuff dries, that's it. It's on there. It is removable. Obviously, you will destroy it if necessary, but if necessary to remove it, you are able to remove it. And it's, again, ridiculously formable. You can pretty much do anything you want to do with it. Case in point is this backdrop right here around the helix. There is a portion right here that is almost a 90-degree bend. And basically what I did there is I just used a heat gun. Use a heat gun, get it nice and soft, and then just mold it, bend it, and mold it to whatever contour it is that you need it to be at, because I needed it to be of a certain contour to be able to fit there, to fit the terrain and the scenery. Also, since we're over here, the valence that you see right there, the inside of it, that's also built out of Palight. So just kind of wanted to put that out there in case anybody is working on fascia. This is definitely something that is very, very easy to work with and provides a very seamless, very almost effortless type of appearance. I've got obviously the gaps going on right now, which I'm about to fill with silicone, and then afterwards sand those guys flat, and then we will be looking basically like this. Throw some earth paint on it, and then it's ready for scenery. So this situation right here is a few hours away from looking like that, and that is a few hours away from starting to look like that. All right, just a quick demonstration of just exactly how easily this is contourable. I'm taking small cuts here simply because I actually don't want to take too much off here. I do want to have a bit of a higher embankment here. So I'm just trying to gradually blend these two seams together. So take that off. Then you come back with some black sanding. Sorry, that was probably my elbow in front of the camera lens. And then you give it a good look over. And I feel pretty good with that. There you have it. And here's the finished product. Ready for scenery. Need to do a little bit of touch-up painting on the fascia itself using the green color. Got a little bit messed up with the brown, but that's all right. That was only the first layer of paint on it in the first place. So that's basically that. What I like about using Palight for my fascia as opposed to Masonite is the fact that I can install it, have it be oversized, and then as I decide on what kind of scenery terrain I'm going to have in any particular area, I can then shape the fascia to match that terrain as I decide, as opposed to having to figure that out before I install the fascia onto the layout. And also, even if you install the Masonite or the hardboard, whatever you want to call it, to the layout, and then decide how your terrain is going to go, the only way you're going to cut that Masonite or hardboard is going to be with a jigsaw. And that amount of sawdust and that amount of vibration on the layout that might have some partially finished scenery is not something that I'm too terribly interested in either. So if you have the means to source yourself some Palight, highly recommended. Very easy to work with. And another thing worth mentioning as I look around the layout to see what other things are actually constructed out of Palight is the US Route 30 overpass. This is a combination of a Rick's kit where I used their I-beams, but the actual deck surface for both the spans is the same Palight. So that allowed me to use the beams that I liked, the way that they looked, but the actual width of the road sections that came in the Rick's kit wasn't what I was looking for. I wanted it to be a little bit wider, and plus I didn't want it to have that concrete square pattern. So I ended up just using a section of Palight cut to the width that I wanted it to be at, and glued the Rick's beams to the bottom of that. Made modifications to the piers to accommodate the added width, and as a result of that, that is another one of the items in Southfield that is made out of Palight. And worth mentioning the fact that so much stuff in Southfield is built out of Palight that this industry that's over here, Southfield Plastics Company, is actually the fictional company that produces Palight. So we just decided to basically call that Southfield Plastics Company because that was a good name for the company, and then we decided that this is the company that is going to produce Palight, kind of to pay homage to the product that has literally built Southfield. So, and now let's just position ourselves here trackside for a little run by here. TCS version 4.5 wow sound with Scale Sound Systems dual speaker.